The autumn rain drummed against the windshield of Marcus Chen's aging Honda Civic as he navigated through downtown Seattle's congested afternoon traffic. His phone buzzed for the third time in 10 minutes, but he couldn't answer, not with his 7-year-old daughter Lily strapped in the back seat, humming along to a song only she could hear. "Daddy, are we almost there?" Lily asked, her voice small but hopeful. Marcus glanced at her through the rearview mirror. Her face was pale, dark circles shadowing her bright brown eyes that used to sparkle with endless energy before the diagnosis. Acute lymphoblastic leukemia, 3 words that had shattered his world 6 months ago. "Almost, sweetheart. Just a few more minutes." The call that morning had been unexpected. A receptionist from Seattle General Hospital, her voice professional yet urgent, informing him that Dr. Catherine Morrison, one of the country's leading pediatric oncologists, had a sudden opening due to a cancellation. It was a miracle, really. They'd been on the waiting list for months, stuck with rotating residents and overworked attending physicians who never seemed to have enough time. Marcus had dropped everything. He'd called in sick to his night shift job at the warehouse, a call he could barely afford to make, and rushed Lily out of school early. This appointment could change everything. Dr. Morrison's innovative treatment protocols had success rates that seemed almost too good to be true. The hospital's main entrance loomed ahead, its glass facade reflecting the gray Seattle sky. Marcus pulled into the parking garage, his hands trembling slightly as he cut the engine. The parking fee alone, $25 for the first 2 hours, made him wince, but he pushed the thought aside. Lily's life was worth more than any amount of money, even if his bank account disagreed. "Come on, princess," he said, helping her out of the car. She'd lost weight, her favorite purple jacket hanging loose on her small frame. He held her hand tightly as they walked toward the elevator, her steps slow but determined. Inside the hospital, the familiar smell of antiseptic and floor cleaner hit him immediately. The lobby buzzed with activity, families waiting anxiously, nurses in colorful scrubs moving with practiced efficiency, elderly patients shuffling toward the pharmacy. Marcus approached the information desk, where a young volunteer with a bright smile greeted them. "We're here to see Dr. Morrison. Marcus and Lily Chen. We have a 3 o'clock appointment." The volunteer's smile faltered slightly as she scanned her computer screen. Her fingers clicked across the keyboard, her expression shifting from confusion to concern. "I'm sorry, sir. I don't see any appointment listed under that name for Dr. Morrison today." Marcus felt his stomach drop. "That's impossible. I received a call this morning, a cancellation. They said 3 o'clock, pediatric oncology, Dr. Morrison. Let me check with the department directly." The volunteer picked up the phone, speaking in hushed tones, while Marcus stood frozen, Lily's small hand still clasped in his. After what felt like an eternity, the volunteer hung up. "Sir, Dr. Morrison is actually in surgery right now. She has been all afternoon and doesn't have any outpatient appointments scheduled today." "Are you sure?" "I'm sure." Marcus's voice came out sharper than he intended, drawing stares from nearby visitors. He took a breath, trying to calm the panic rising in his chest. "Someone called me from this hospital this morning at 9:47. I have the number in my phone." The volunteer's expression softened with sympathy. "Sir, I believe you, but sometimes there are scam calls, people pretending to be from hospitals. I'm so sorry." Marcus felt the world tilt. A scam? He'd rearranged his entire life, missed work, pulled Lily from school, spent money he didn't have on parking, all for a fake appointment. His vision blurred with frustration and exhaustion. "Daddy!" Lily tugged at his hand, her voice worried. "Are we not seeing the doctor?" Before he could answer, a commotion erupted near the main entrance. 2 well-dressed men in expensive suits burst through the doors, laughing loudly, followed by a camera crew. Marcus recognized them immediately. Brad Callahan and Justin Meyer, social media pranksters who'd made millions pulling elaborate stunts on unsuspecting people. "Did you see his face?" Brad howled, slapping Justin on the back. "He actually believed it. The appointment, the urgent call. Classic! Marcus's blood ran cold. His eyes locked on the crew, and in that instant he understood. They had done this. They had called him, created hope where there was none, all for content. All for clicks and views and advertising revenue. His hands clenched into fists. Lily pressed closer to his leg, sensing his anger. Justin noticed Marcus staring and nudged Brad, pointing. The prankster's grin widened. "Hey! There's our star! Sir, you were perfect. Your reaction was priceless. Don't worry, you're gonna be famous." One of the crew members rushed forward with a release form. "If you could just sign this, you'll receive $500 for your participation." "Participation?" Marcus's voice shook. "My daughter has cancer. I thought she was getting help. Real help." The lobby had gone quiet. All eyes turned toward them. Brad's smile dimmed slightly, but he recovered quickly, his influencer persona sliding back into place. "Hey, man, it's just a prank. No harm done. We'll even donate to your GoFundMe or whatever." "No harm done?" Marcus stepped forward, barely controlling his rage. "I missed work I can't afford to miss. I pulled my sick daughter out of school. I got her hopes up that she might see a specialist who could actually help her. And you think $500 makes that okay?" A security guard approached, his hand on his radio. "Gentlemen, I'm going to need you all to calm down." "We have permission to film here," Justin said quickly, pulling out documentation. "It's all legal. He just needs to sign the release." "I'm not signing anything," Marcus said through gritted teeth. Brad's expression hardened. "Then we can't compensate you. And the video's going up regardless. You were in a public space." Marcus looked down at Lily, whose eyes were brimming with tears. She didn't fully understand what was happening, but she knew they weren't seeing the doctor. She knew something was wrong. That's when Marcus noticed her. A woman in a wheelchair had been sitting near the elevators the entire time, watching the scene unfold. She was perhaps in her late 40s, with sharp, intelligent eyes and auburn hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. She wore surgical scrubs and a white coat, a stethoscope draped around her neck. There was something commanding about her presence, despite her seated position. She wheeled herself forward, her expression unreadable. "Excuse me," she said, her voice cutting through the tension like a scalpel. "I couldn't help but overhear." Brad rolled his eyes. "Listen, lady, this doesn't concern—" "I'm Dr. Catherine Morrison," she said calmly, "Chief of Pediatric Oncology, and I believe you gentlemen just used my name without authorization to commit what sounds like fraud." The lobby went completely silent. Brad and Justin exchanged glances, their confidence visibly shaking. We were just... It was a joke," Brad stammered. Dr. Morrison's gaze could have frozen fire. "A joke that involved impersonating medical staff, creating false hope for a cancer patient, and potentially violating HIPAA regulations by accessing patient information. I don't find that funny." She turned to Marcus, her expression softening. "Mr. Chen, is it?" Marcus nodded, unable to speak. "I have 20 minutes before my next surgery. Bring Lily to my office, 3rd floor, West Wing. Let's see what we can do." Marcus stared at her, certain he'd misheard. "But you don't have to—" "No, I don't have to," Dr. Morrison agreed, already wheeling toward the elevators. "But I want to. Your daughter deserves better than to be someone's punchline. Come on." As Marcus lifted Lily into his arms and followed the doctor, he heard Brad calling after them, panic in his voice. "Wait! Can we film this? This could be an amazing redemption arc." Dr. Morrison didn't even turn around. "If you follow us past this lobby, I will have security remove you from the hospital permanently, and my lawyers will be in touch about your unauthorized use of my name and position." The elevator doors closed on Brad and Justin's shocked faces, leaving Marcus alone with the doctor, who had just turned his worst day into something that might, just might, be the beginning of hope. The elevator ride to the 3rd floor felt surreal. Marcus stood beside Dr. Morrison's wheelchair, Lily still in his arms, while soft instrumental music played overhead. He kept expecting someone to tell him this was another part of the prank, that hidden cameras would jump out and reveal it was all a cruel joke. But Dr. Morrison sat quietly, reviewing something on her tablet, her fingers moving efficiently across the screen. There was a competence about her, a quiet authority that made Marcus feel, for the first time in months, like maybe things could actually be okay. "How long has she been diagnosed?" Dr. Morrison asked without looking up. 6 months, Marcus replied, his voice hoarse. B-cell all high-risk category. She's been through 2 rounds of induction therapy, but the response has been suboptimal. Now Dr. Morrison looked up, one eyebrow raised. "You know your terminology." "I've learned," Marcus said quietly. "When your daughter's life depends on it, you learn fast." The elevator chimed, and the doors opened to reveal a bustling oncology floor. Unlike the sterile coldness Marcus had experienced at other hospitals, this wing felt different. The walls were painted in warm colors, soft blues and greens. Artwork created by former patients decorated the hallways, alongside photos of smiling children with captions like 5 years cancer-free and remission champion. Dr. Morrison's office was at the end of the corridor, a corner suite with large windows overlooking the Seattle skyline. Rain still pattered against the glass, but inside, the space felt warm and inviting. Bookshelves lined one wall, packed with medical journals and textbooks. The desk was organized but lived in, with a photo frame showing a younger Dr. Morrison standing beside a mountain summit sign. "You can set her down on the exam table," Dr. Morrison instructed, wheeling herself to a sink to wash her hands. Marcus gently placed Lily on the padded table. She looked tiny against the white paper covering, her legs dangling. "Is this the real doctor, Daddy?" she whispered. "Yes, sweetheart. This is the real doctor." Dr. Morrison dried her hands and wheeled over, her movements practiced and efficient. "Lily, my name is Dr. Kate. I'm going to ask you some questions and maybe do a quick checkup, okay? You can say no to anything that makes you uncomfortable." Lily nodded, her earlier anxiety slowly melting under Dr. Morrison's gentle demeanor. "First question, what's your favorite color?" Lily blinked, surprised. "Purple." "Excellent choice. Purple is the color of royalty. Did you know that? Queens and kings wore purple because it was rare and special, just like you." Dr. Morrison pulled out her stethoscope. "Now, I'm going to listen to your heart and lungs. This might be a little cold. Ready?" The examination was thorough but quick, Doctor. Morrison's hands confident as she checked Lily's lymph nodes, looked at her gums, examined the port in her chest where chemotherapy was administered. She asked questions about Lily's energy levels, her appetite, any pain or discomfort. Marcus watched, marveling at how easily Dr. Morrison connected with his daughter. Most doctors talked over Lily, addressing him as if she weren't in the room, but Dr. Morrison spoke directly to her, treating her like a person with agency and opinions. "Mr. Chen," Dr. Morrison said finally, swiveling to face him, "I need to see her complete medical records, all of them, labs, pathology reports, imaging, treatment protocols, everything." Marcus pulled out his phone, where he kept digital copies of every document related to Lily's care. "I can email them to you right now." "Smart man." She rattled off her email address, and Marcus sent the files immediately. While Dr. Morrison reviewed the records on her computer, Marcus found himself studying her. The wheelchair was clearly a permanent fixture. It was customized, well used, with modifications that spoke of years of adaptation. Yet, she moved through the space with such confidence, such capability, that he'd almost forgotten she was using it. She must have sensed his gaze because she glanced up. "Car accident," she said matter-of-factly. 7 years ago. Drunk driver ran a red light. I was in residency, about to start my fellowship in pediatric oncology." "I'm sorry," Marcus said quietly. Dr. Morrison shrugged. "I survived. Others didn't, and I still became chief of oncology, still perform surgeries, still save lives. The wheelchair is just how I get around." She turned back to the screen, her eyes scanning rapidly. "What matters is competence, not mobility." Marcus felt a surge of respect for this woman who had just upended his terrible day. After several minutes of intense focus, Dr. Morrison leaned back in her chair, her expression thoughtful. "Your current oncologist, Dr. Patel, is competent and the protocol is standard, but looking at Lily's response rates and the genetic markers in her pathology report, I think we can do better." Hope flared in Marcus's chest. "Better how?" "There's a clinical trial I'm leading. CAR T-cell therapy combined with a new targeted antibody treatment. It's showing remarkable results in pediatric patients with resistant B-cell ALL." She pulled up a presentation on her screen, turning it so Marcus could see. "Traditional chemotherapy works by killing fast-growing cells, but it's not specific. It damages healthy cells too, which is why the side effects are so brutal. This approach re-engineers the patient's own immune cells to specifically target cancer cells." Marcus stared at the graphs and charts, barely daring to believe. "What are the success rates?" "In our Phase 2 trials, we're seeing complete remission in 78% of high-risk patients within 3 months. Long-term survival rates are still being studied, but the 2-year mark is showing 85% progression-free survival. The numbers were staggering compared to what Lily's current treatment offered." "What's the catch?" Dr. Morrison smiled grimly. "You're smart to ask. The catch is that it's experimental. There are risks: cytokine release syndrome, neurological effects, infections while the immune system is being rebuilt. And it's not covered by standard insurance. The trial covers the treatment costs, but there are other expenses: frequent monitoring, possible hospitalization, supportive care." "How much are we talking?" "With the trial covering the main treatment, probably $15,000 to $20,000 out of pocket over 6 months. Maybe more if complications arise." Marcus felt his hope deflate. He had $847 in his checking account. His credit cards were maxed. The medical bills from Lily's existing treatment had already forced him to sell his truck and move to a cheaper apartment. Dr. Morrison must have seen the despair on his face. "There are financial assistance programs, hospital charity care, payment plans. We'll work something out. The question is Lily eligible for the trial? And do you want to proceed?" Marcus looked at his daughter, who was swinging her legs and humming softly, examining a stuffed bear Dr. Morrison had given her from a basket in the corner. She was so small, so fragile, yet so impossibly strong. She'd endured more in 7 years than most people faced in a lifetime. "What do I need to do?" Dr. Morrison wheeled to a filing cabinet, pulling out paperwork. "First, I need consent to become her primary oncologist and enroll her in the trial. Then we'll need updated imaging and a new bone marrow biopsy to confirm her current disease status and genetic markers. If everything looks good, we can start the cell collection process next week." "Next week?" Marcus's voice cracked. "That fast? I told you, I don't have much time right now. But I'm making time because your daughter deserves a real chance, not a fake appointment from some internet clowns." Her expression softened. "And because in medicine, timing matters. The longer we wait, the more the disease progresses. If Lily's eligible, I want to move quickly." Marcus felt tears prickling his eyes. He'd been fighting alone for so long, navigating a medical system that seemed designed to confuse and exhaust him. And now, because of a cruel prank, he'd found someone who actually cared, someone who had the expertise and the will to fight for Lily. "Thank you," he whispered. "I don't know how to thank you." Dr. Morrison handed him the paperwork. "Sign these. Get me the updated insurance information, and bring Lily back tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for the biopsy. We'll schedule it first thing so she doesn't have to fast all day. I'll be here." "Good." She wheeled to a cabinet and pulled out several booklets. "These explain the trial in detail, including all the risks and benefits. Read them tonight. Come with questions tomorrow." As Marcus gathered the paperwork, Lily spoke up. "Dr. Kate?" "Yes, sweetie? Are you going to make me better?" Dr. Morrison wheeled closer, meeting Lily's eyes with complete honesty. "I'm going to try my absolute hardest." And you're going to be brave and strong, just like you've been. Together, we're going to fight this. Deal?" Lily considered, then stuck out her small hand. "Deal." They shook on it, and Marcus had to look away to hide his tears. As they prepared to leave, Dr. Morrison stopped them at the door. "Mr. Chen, one more thing. Those pranksters, their video won't be going up without legal consequences. I've already contacted the hospital's legal team and my personal attorney. What they did was not only morally reprehensible, but potentially illegal. They won't profit from your suffering." Marcus nodded, gratitude overwhelming him. "Why?" he asked. "Why are you doing all this for us? You don't know us." Dr. Morrison was quiet for a moment, her gaze distant. "After my accident, there were doctors who wrote me off, said I'd never practice medicine again, never perform surgery from a wheelchair. They saw the disability, not the person. Someone took a chance on me when no one else would, gave me an opportunity to prove them wrong." She looked back at Marcus. "I'm just paying it forward. Lily deserves a champion, and you deserve a miracle. Let's see if we can make one happen." As Marcus carried Lily back to the elevator, his daughter's head resting on his shoulder, he felt something he hadn't felt in months. Genuine hope. The day had started as a nightmare, but it was ending as a gift. Sometimes, he thought, the worst moments led to the best ones. Sometimes, when people tried to tear you down, someone else lifted you up. And sometimes, the person in the wheelchair turned out to be exactly the hero you needed. 3 weeks had passed since that rainy afternoon, and Marcus's life had transformed into a carefully orchestrated routine of hospital visits, treatment cycles, and cautious optimism. Lily had been accepted into Dr. Morrison's clinical trial, and the preliminary results were promising enough to keep hope alive. It was a grey Tuesday morning when Marcus pushed through the revolving doors of Seattle General, carrying Lily in his arms. She'd been too tired to walk today, her energy depleted from the cell collection process, but she was smiling, a real smile that reached her eyes, because today was special. Today, the re-engineered cells would be infused back into her body, the cells that might save her life. "Mr. Chen," the receptionist at the oncology check-in desk waved him over. "Dr. Morrison asked you to go directly to the infusion center, room 304. Marcus thanked her and headed for the elevators. The hospital had become familiar territory now, the antiseptic smell no longer jarring, the sounds of beeping monitors and overhead pages fading into background noise. Room 304 was a private infusion room, larger than the standard chemotherapy bays. Dr. Morrison was already there, reviewing charts with 2 nurses. She looked up as they entered, her face brightening. "There's my warrior princess," she said, wheeling over to greet them. "Ready for the big day?" Lily nodded, though Marcus could feel her trembling slightly. They'd explained the process in age-appropriate terms. The special cells were like superhero soldiers that would fight the bad guys in her blood. But explanations could only do so much when you were 7 years old and facing another medical procedure. "Daddy stays with me?" Lily asked, her voice small. "Absolutely," Dr. Morrison confirmed. "Daddy stays the whole time. It'll take about an hour for the infusion, and then we'll monitor you for a few hours to make sure everything's okay." As the nurses prepared Lily, settling her into the large reclining chair, checking her port, explaining each step, Dr. Morrison pulled Marcus aside. "How are you holding up?" she asked quietly. Marcus hadn't slept properly in weeks. He'd been working double shifts at the warehouse to cover expenses, surviving on coffee and determination. His apartment was a mess. His diet consisted mainly of ramen and whatever free food the hospital social worker pointed him toward, but none of that mattered. "I'm okay," he lied. Dr. Morrison gave him a knowing look. "Have you been eating? When's the last time you slept more than 4 hours?" "I'm fine," Marcus insisted. "Lily's what matters." "Lily needs you healthy," Dr. Morrison countered. "You can't pour from an empty cup, Marcus." She pulled a business card from her pocket. "This is Dr. Sarah Chen, one of our hospital social workers. She specializes in helping families navigate the financial and emotional challenges of pediatric cancer. I've already spoken to her about your situation. Marcus wanted to protest, to insist he could handle everything alone, but the truth was, he was drowning. The trial covered the treatment costs, but everything else, parking, meals, rent, utilities, Lily's other medications, was crushing him. "Thank you," he said simply. "We're all on the same team here," Dr. Morrison reminded him. The infusion began smoothly. The bag of modified cells, Lily's own T-cells, now engineered to recognize and destroy her cancer, hung from an IV pole, dripping slowly into her port. Lily clutched Marcus's hand, watching a cartoon on the tablet the hospital had provided. Dr. Morrison stayed for the first 20 minutes, monitoring every vital sign, watching Lily's face for any sign of distress. When everything remained stable, she squeezed Marcus's shoulder. "I have surgery in 30 minutes, but I'll check on you afterward. The nurses know to page me immediately if anything changes." "Thank you, Dr. Kate," Lily called out drowsily. "You're welcome, sweetheart. You're doing great." As the infusion progressed, Marcus allowed himself to imagine a future he'd been too afraid to dream about. Lily starting 3rd grade, Lily playing soccer again, Lily growing up, graduating high school, maybe going to college. All the normal moments that cancer had stolen. The door suddenly burst open, shattering his reverie. A hospital security guard entered, followed by an administrator Marcus didn't recognize. "Mr. Chen," the administrator asked, clipboard in hand. "I'm Dennis Walters, Hospital Billing Administration. I need to speak with you about your outstanding balance." Marcus's stomach dropped. "Can this wait? My daughter is in the middle of treatment." "I'm afraid it can't. We have a policy about outstanding balances exceeding $10,000. Yours is currently at $14,672. Marcus felt his face flush. "I've been making payments. I have a payment plan. The payment plan was for your previous balance. The recent procedures, the biopsy, imaging, consultations, those have added to what you owe. And we need to discuss payment before we can continue with future appointments." "Future appointments?" Marcus stood, careful not to disturb Lily's IV line. "You're talking about my daughter's cancer treatment. You can't just—" "Mr. Chen, please lower your voice. This is a hospital." One of the nurses, a kind woman named Rosa who'd been caring for Lily, stepped forward. "Mr. Walters, perhaps this conversation could happen after the infusion. The patient is stable right now, and it's important not to cause stress." "Hospital policy is hospital policy," Walters interrupted. "We've been extremely generous in allowing this trial participation, but Mr. Chen needs to address his financial obligations." Marcus wanted to explode. He wanted to scream that he was working himself to death, that he'd sold everything he owned, that he was doing everything humanly possible. But he couldn't. Not here. Not in front of Lily. "I'll come to the billing office after her treatment," Marcus said through clenched teeth. "We can discuss it then." Walters frowned but nodded. "Fine, but be aware that continued non-payment could result in—" "Could result in what?" Dr. Morrison's voice cut through the room like ice. She wheeled in, her expression thunderous. "Mr. Walters, what exactly do you think you're doing?" Walters straightened, defensive. "Dr. Morrison, I'm simply following hospital protocol regarding you're harassing a parent while his daughter undergoes a potentially life-saving treatment. In my department, without my authorization." Her voice was deadly calm. "Leave. Now." "With all due respect, Doctor, financial matters are not your—" "My name is on this trial. My reputation is attached to every patient enrolled, and I personally authorized Lily Chen's participation with full knowledge of the family's financial situation." Dr. Morrison wheeled closer, her presence commanding despite her seated position. "If you have concerns about billing, you take them to me first, not to a terrified father in the middle of his daughter's treatment. Am I clear?" Walters's face reddened. The CFO is asking questions about accounts receivable, and then the CFO can schedule a meeting with me through proper channels, not by ambushing families in infusion rooms." She gestured to the door. "Get out of my oncology ward, now." After Walters left, the security guard sheepishly following, Dr. Morrison turned to Marcus. "I apologize. That should never have happened." Marcus slumped back into his chair, adrenaline draining. "It's not your fault. I do owe them money. A lot of it. Medical debt is not a moral failing, Marcus. It's a systemic problem." Dr. Morrison pulled her wheelchair closer. "Here's what's going to happen. I'm meeting with the Hospital Foundation tomorrow. We have emergency financial assistance funds specifically for situations like yours. Between that, charity care, and some creative billing, coding certain procedures as trial-related, which they are, we'll get this manageable. You don't have to—" "Yes, I do. Because this is exactly why I do what I do." Her expression softened. "After my accident, I had insurance, but the bills were still astronomical. Physical therapy, adaptive equipment, home modifications. The costs were crushing. I had colleagues who helped me navigate the system, who fought for me when I was too exhausted to fight for myself." She placed a hand on his arm. "Let me fight for you now." Marcus felt tears threatening again. Why does it have to be so hard? She's just a kid. She didn't ask for cancer. We didn't do anything wrong. No, you didn't. But the American healthcare system is broken, and families like yours pay the price. That's why I advocate so loudly for change, why I fight with insurance companies and hospital administrators every single day. She glanced at Lily, who had dozed off during the conversation. "She's almost done with the infusion. Everything looks perfect." Over the next hour, as Lily slept peacefully and nurses monitored her vitals, Dr. Morrison stayed. She made calls, sent emails, coordinated with the social worker she'd mentioned earlier. Marcus watched in awe as she operated, commanding respect, refusing to take no for an answer, fighting bureaucracy with the same intensity she fought cancer. "You know," Marcus said quietly, "when I first saw you in that lobby, I thought you were just another person watching the drama unfold. I had no idea you were the doctor I'd been desperate to see." Dr. Morrison smiled. "People make assumptions about the wheelchair. They see disability before they see competence. I've spent years proving them wrong. Those pranksters definitely learned that lesson." "Speaking of which," Dr. Morrison pulled up something on her tablet. "Their legal troubles are mounting. Turns out impersonating hospital staff is a crime. Who knew?" Her smile was satisfied. "My lawyers have been very thorough." "Good," Marcus said with feeling. "What they did was cruel." "It was. But it also led you here, to this treatment, to this chance." She met his eyes. "Sometimes the worst moments open doors we didn't know existed. Doesn't make what they did right, but maybe something good came from something terrible." Lily stirred, blinking awake. "Is it done?" she asked groggily. "All done, sweetheart," Rosa the nurse confirmed, carefully disconnecting the empty IV bag. "You did amazing." Dr. Morrison wheeled to Lily's side. "How do you feel?" "Tired, but okay." Lily looked at her dad. "Can we go home?" "Not yet," Dr. Morrison said gently. "We need to watch you for a few more hours. Make sure those superhero cells are settling in properly. But then, yes, you can go home." As the afternoon wore on, Marcus found himself reflecting on the past few weeks. The journey wasn't over. Lily still had a long road ahead, with monitoring, possible side effects, and the agonizing wait to see if the treatment worked. But for the first time since the diagnosis, he didn't feel alone. Dr. Morrison had been true to her word about everything. The financial assistance was being processed. The social worker had connected him with programs for rent assistance, food banks, and even a support group for single parents of children with cancer. The warehouse supervisor, after learning why Marcus needed flexible hours, had adjusted his schedule. Small pieces were falling into place. Around 5 p.m., Dr. Morrison returned from her surgeries, still in scrubs, looking exhausted but satisfied. "How's our patient?" All vitals stable, Rosa reported. No fever, no adverse reactions. She's been napping on and off. Perfect. Dr. Morrison examined Lily's chart, then nodded. Okay, you can go home, but I want you back here tomorrow morning for blood work. And you call me immediately if she develops a fever over 100.4. Any trouble breathing, confusion, or if she just seems off. The next few weeks are critical. Marcus helped Lily into her jacket, gathering their belongings. We'll be here tomorrow. 8 a.m.? 7:30 would be better. Beat the morning rush. As they prepared to leave, Lily suddenly spoke up. Dr. Kate, are you going to fix me? The room went quiet. It was the question everyone had been avoiding, the question without guarantees. Dr. Morrison wheeled closer, taking Lily's small hand in hers. Here's what I know, Lily. Those cells we just gave you are very, very smart. They're going to work hard to make you better. I'm going to work hard to make you better. Your daddy is going to work hard to make you better. And you're going to keep being brave and strong, just like you have been. But will I be okay? Dr. Morrison didn't lie or give false promises. I hope so. I believe so. But I can't promise, because medicine doesn't work that way. What I can promise is that I will never give up on you. No matter what happens, I'm here. We're all here. You're not fighting alone. Lily considered this, then nodded solemnly. Okay. Marcus lifted his daughter into his arms, her weight familiar and precious. Thank you, he said to Dr. Morrison, the words feeling inadequate. For everything. Thank you for trusting me with her care. Dr. Morrison's expression was warm, but serious. Go home. Rest. I'll see you tomorrow. As Marcus carried Lily through the hospital corridors, past the familiar paintings and photographs of survivors, he thought about unlikely heroes, about doctors in wheelchairs who refused to let limitations define them, about pranksters whose cruelty accidentally created opportunities, about a healthcare system that was broken but filled with individuals who fought to make it work anyway. The rain had stopped, and weak sunlight filtered through breaking clouds as they exited the hospital. Lily's head rested on Marcus's shoulder, her breathing steady and peaceful. Daddy? She murmured. Yeah, Princess? I like Dr. Kate. Marcus smiled, his first genuine smile in weeks. Me too, sweetheart. Me too. The road ahead was uncertain. The treatment might work, or it might not. The bills would keep coming, and the struggles wouldn't magically disappear. But tonight, Marcus had hope. Real, tangible hope, backed by cutting-edge medicine and a doctor who refused to give up. And sometimes hope was enough to keep fighting for another day.